Hello everyone, let's discuss and understand the concept of two-column cash book in accounting. Cash book, you must know that cash book is the subsidiary book in which only cash transactions are recorded. And in two-column cash book, we record not only the cash transaction but the check transactions also. So this is the format of the two columns cash book, friends. There are two sides, the left hand side and the right hand side. On left hand side, we record all the receipts whenever an amount is received, either in the form of cash or in the form of check, that is recorded on the left hand side. And if any payment is made, payment by cash in the cash column and payment by check in the bank column, that is the right hand side, that is the credit side. And each side we have six columns basically. See, date, particulars, voucher number, ledger folio, cash column and bank column. I would like to tell you about two columns. One is voucher number each side and ledger folio. Voucher number is what? Voucher number is the document on which the transaction is recorded, and that transaction is verified by the accountant and his boss, say manager. Then it becomes the valid transaction. What is ledger folio? Ledger folio is page number in the ledger where posting of an account is made from cash book to ledger. Remember students, we transfer the different accounts from cash book to ledger, and the page number where that account is posted, that page number is mentioned in the ledger folio columns. So this is about the initial introduction of cash book. Now you must know that cash book contains two main accounts, cash account and bank account. See, both side we have two major and important columns, that is cash column and bank column. These are not only columns, these are the accounts. This is cash account and this is bank account. Why I am telling you this? Because when a cash book is maintained, we need not to maintain, remember and listen it carefully, when a cash book is maintained, we need not to maintain cash account and bank account separately, because this cash book is journal as well as complete ledger in itself. What is the purpose of cash account? To know the updated balance of cash. So we come to know the updated balance of cash as well as the daily or updated balance of bank account here through this cash book. So there is no need to prepare cash account and bank account separately. Now coming to this, how to start the cash book. Firstly, at the beginning of each month, we have to record the opening balance of cash and opening balance of bank. Closing balance of the previous month is taken as the opening balance of the current month. So first we write the year. Suppose it is 2023. Both side mention the year. Then it is January. Right here January both side. Then the date, January 1st. We have to show the opening balance. Whenever an opening balance is shown, we record the term balance BD, brought down. And remember one thing, the cash column always show a debit balance. Debit balance means what? Positive balance. Remember one thing, the cash column either has or show a debit balance, positive balance or zero balance. It can never be negative. So we open the cash book and cash column by writing like this, to balance brought down, before beginning, brought down, and we write the cash, opening cash amount here. Now coming to the bank column. Bank column can have a positive as well as a negative balance. Listen it carefully. If there is a positive bank balance, it means that is a debit balance. Positive means we have a balance in the bank which we can use, we can withdraw. We have a positive balance in the bank. In that case, we write the opening balance here to balance BD, but the bank balance may show the negative balance, which is termed as credit bank balance, or that is also known as overdraft. Overdraft facility is taken by each and every businessman by opening a current account. And overdraft means we have drawn excess amount from the bank, then we deposited into it. So that is a negative balance, that is a credit balance, and that is also known as bank overdraft. If it is a negative balance, in that case, opening bank balance is shown on the credit side like this, by balance brought down, in this way. See, if it is a credit balance shown by bank, that is the opening balance is shown on the credit side if it is an overdraft. But if it is a positive balance, then it is shown on the debit side. This is how we open the cash book. Now coming to how to record the transaction in the cash book. There are two types of transaction, friends. One is the cash transaction and second is the check transaction. Let's understand these cash and checks transactions separately. See, if it is a cash transaction, so there are two cases. Either we received the amount by cash or we made payment by cash. If we received the amount by cash, that is recorded on the debit side in the cash column. Remember this. If we made payment by cash, it means we paid in cash. That is recorded on the credit side in the cash column. So one thing is clear, if the transaction is taking place in cash, so cash column is affected only. If the cash is coming in, that is recorded on the debit side. If we made payment by cash, that is recorded on the credit side. That should be clear to you. But main focus is on check transaction. That is a little bit difficult and you need to understand it clearly. I am going to tell you what is the treatment of checks while preparing two column cash book. See, the first case, there are two cases: when amount received by check, second when amount paid by check. Main focus should be on when amount is received by check, because there may be two situations. Try to understand. When a check is received, the first situation, when a check is received and that is deposited into bank on the same day, its result is increased bank balance. When I tell you check is received and that is deposited into bank on the same day, so that increase the bank balance and that is recorded on the debit side in bank column. Remember that. I repeat this because this is important. You received a check from someone, the check is deposited into bank on the same day, that increase your bank balance. That's why it is recorded on the receipt side on the debit side by writing the name of the person and in the bank column. But what is the case when a check is received but not deposited into bank on the same day? Please understand that. Check is received, not deposited into bank on the same day. It means we retained the check with us. Then what we did with that check? The first case, endorsed. Endorsed means the check not deposited into bank, but we used the check for making payment to the creditors. That is called endorsement. If the check is endorsed, that is not recorded in cash book. Remember, that is not recorded in cash book. That will be recorded into journal proper. Its journal entry will be in journal proper. I repeat, try to understand. If a check is received from someone, that is retained by the businessman and endorsed to someone else for making payment, that is called endorsement, and its recording is not made in the cash book. Its recording is made in journal proper separately. Second case of this type is check is received and deposited into bank next day or after 2-3 days. It means we received a check on that day, we retained the check in our office, but next day or after 2-3 days we deposited the check into the bank. In that case, that increase our bank balance, and this will be recorded on the debit side of cash book. So I tell you, treatment of checks cases: check received deposited into bank on the same day, debit side. Check received not deposited into bank on the same day. If check is endorsed, no entry in cash book. If check is deposited on the next day or after 2-3 days, it will be recorded on the debit side of the cash book. But in that case, we will write two check in hand. Two checks in hand. Why so? Because the day when we retained the check into the office and not deposited into the bank, on that day cash book is not affected. That transaction was recorded into journal proper. Then we deposited that check into the bank, so it will be like this: to check in hand, and it will be recorded in the bank column. Now this is about treatment of checks when an amount is received with the help of a check. Now what about payments? See, when we make payment to someone by check, simple rule, no more focus is required. Whenever any payment is made by check, that is recorded on the credit side by writing the name of the account. If payment is made to someone, write the name of the person. If payment is made for expenses, write the name of the expense. If we purchased goods, write by purchases. If we purchased fixed assets, write the name of the asset, and it is recorded on the credit side bank column. So students, this is the introductory part of cash book. One more transaction is there on which I would make a separate videos in detail, that is contra entry. Try to understand that. Contra entry. In the next videos, you will find separate videos on this contra entry, because this is very important. Contra entries means what? There will be few transactions which will affect both the side of the cash book, that is the contra entry. Contra entry means double effect. The transaction will be recorded on the debit as well as on the credit side of the cash book, and it takes place in two cases. The first case is when cash is deposited into bank. When cash is deposited into bank, see, when we deposit cash into bank, cash balance decrease, bank balance increase. So that affects the both side of the cash book. And second case is when cash is withdrawn from bank for office use. When cash is withdrawn from bank for office use, in that case cash balance increases and bank balance decreases. So this is called contra entry, and its numericals you can see in my next videos. So students, this was the very basic for beginners who do not have knowledge of the cash book. Please listen the video each and every step properly, pay attention, then try to solve the illustrations first of all, then exercise, and still if you face any problem, then you just comment on the comment box. I will reply you regarding that. If you really like the video, press the like button, share the video with your friends and classmates, and subscribe the channel if not yet subscribed.